All right, and we're back. This time we're going to talk about Space Quest 2. For the villain's name, I notoriously pronounce names wrong. I always pronounced it Vohal, because that's what it looks like to me. Vohaul, Vohal. But I think I've also pronounced it Valhall, which is, I don't know why. But I've always pronounced it Vohal, like Sludge Vohal. So if that's not right, and I know they eventually say his name, you verbally hear it in the audio version of Space Quest 4, which right now I can't remember exactly how it's pronounced. So if I am wrong, or if I'm right, tell me in the comments below if I'm wrong how it's pronounced phonetically. And if I'm right, just say, you know what, you were spot on. You've been right all these years, which is a very rare thing. So anyway, Space Quest 2, our hero once again is back to being a janitor despite saving the planet. He's a horrible janitor, so he is essentially put onto a space station where, once again, as it says at the very bottom there, life sucks again. Now, what I want to know is whatever happened to Roger Wilco's robot that he saved the day with in Space Quest 1. You see it at the end at the award thing, kind of like Chewbacca and Han, but we don't know what happened. So here we are, we're opening up with Xenon Orbital Station 4 as a ship approaches. And where's our hero? Is he on that ship? No, he's not. So here you can ask, I totally thought it was only in Space Quest 1 where it gave you an option to change the name, but apparently it does it in Space Quest 2. I don't know why I typed out Roger Wilco, because if you hit enter, it just defaults to Roger Wilco. But here we are. As we begin the chapter, our hero, we find him, Roger Wilco, ace janitor, doing what he does best. And that is apparently being outside with magnetic boots, sweeping a ship. How does that work? Anyway, so a beep emanates from your wristwatch, and boom, there goes your broom, which you're about to get yelled at. So this is all intro stuff, so that's why I'm kind of rambling about the intro. We've not really gotten into the actual gameplay of Space Quest 2. So here you have a little watch, the H, C, and T. So H is horoscope, C is communication, and this is where you get yelled at and says, hey, a ship has arrived, get over there and clean it. And if you press T, it tells you the time and the temperature. So now the game officially begins. You are now in control of Roger Wilco. Pretty easy standard stuff like, change your clothes, go to the locker because the locker is there, open the locker. You don't even have to figure out which locker it is and get the stuff. There's a puzzle, a supporter, and that's about it. So make sure to look at, and an order form. So make sure, what I've learned is to look at all your inventory items, because in Space Quest 1, I grabbed a gadget very early in the game and forgot to look at it to know that it was a translator, which impacted later on when an alien tried to speak to me and couldn't communicate with me and kicked me out. So always look at what you're carrying as soon as you grab it, if you can. So in the event it is a translator and you need to turn it on, you can turn it on. So here you are, your boss says, hey, go clean up the ship. And you're like, all right, I guess. And they won't let you go anywhere else until you do it. So you're like, hey, you know what? I'll go inside the ship. But I've played this a number of times, so I already know what's about to happen. You're about to get mugged. But why? And that's going to become very clear here in a moment. You notice that you are brought before a sagging mass of flesh, which is none other than Sludge Valhall, whatever. I'm going to say Vohal because I think that's how it's pronounced. And he says, you know what, you thwarted me before, but this time I have a new ultimate plan. I'm going to infest the world Xenon, where Roger Wilco is from, with these, I guess, like internet salesmen, or just basically salesmen that will destroy the world, whatever. I don't know how that's going to happen, but that's Sludge Valhall's plan, so you have to stop these salesmen. But in the meantime, you're going to go to a slave planet and be enslaved, where you're going to spend the rest of your days, or so it would seem, until the hover pod runs out of gas. So one thing you should know from every Space Quest game, well, the first thing I did is look in the ship, press the button to stop the tracker, which I think that's what it is. I think it's a tracker to help determine where you're at. So what you want to do is always search the body. If there's a dead guy, they're going to have a key card. There's the key card. And there's nothing in the body of the second guy that's in the ship. So I know there's a trap right there to the right, but I wasn't paying attention. And I walked right into it because I knew it was there. I just started walking around to see what screens are where because I don't remember where all the screens are, what leads to what. So this time I walk around it. And when you say, look, trap, what trap? I don't see a trap. Now these mushrooms, once again, because I've played this before, I know for a fact if you get too close, they'll actually eat you. So you have to be very careful about how you maneuver around these mushrooms. So it seems like this screen is essentially pretty much like a dead end. It's pretty much essentially just a screen to die at because these mushrooms actually serve no other purpose. Now, I want to say real quick on this screen right here before it changed, that one there. Well, you know what? I'll talk about it when it happens. So I know that these things, you can't run across them. If you break them, you're going to die. They're spores. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to grab a spore, and you can only carry one. Because it says, Roger, if you try to grab one, you can't. So now that machine up there, that's where we're going to go. Because what that is it's a mailbox. Oh, look at that ace control, just whoop, diagonal right through there. That's a mailbox. And we have an order form. So what are we going to do? We're going to put the order form in the mailbox. And it hums and it whistles. And speaking of whistles, it drops off a whistle. So you get a whistle. Now, so far, everything's pretty straightforward. I'm not lost. Nothing is going too terribly wrong. I know I can't cross the swamp until I get berries. So now I need to find the screen where the berries are. So notice how when I went to the top and went to the right, it led to the swamp. I think this is one of the few games where going to the right in two different areas leads to two different areas. So here you have to basically, and talking about the two different areas, like again, I'll talk about it once we go there, because you'll see me get lost for a good while in the game trying to figure out where the frick the alien is. So for this, you have to maneuver around this alien plant thing, and if you touch it, it will wrap around you and go to you and essentially eat you. I do this a number of times. You'll see me say restore, save, restore, save, restore. But there is one of the times where I just let it happen just to show what happens when you actually die. So I went up to the top, got the berries, and once again, there's no way to exit out of the screen, so now we have to make our way back. It's like the essential nightmare of of every Sierra game. When you try to walk downstairs, it's the most insanely difficult thing to do, and it's clear what you're trying to do, and you can just be one pixel off and it touches it, and that's it. So on this, you just basically save early, save often, and this is the time I just let it happen. It just devours you, and you're nothing. So now I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. So I just saved a game that says now to find the guy. So I know that there is an alien that I have to find. And it briefly mentions you hear like a whipping snap sound. So see how I go to the right here and it leads to a swamp. Now what I don't notice is right over there to the right down at the bottom, you can actually go to the right. And I can't, at the moment, I can't think of another Sierra game where you're on a screen and whether you go up, down, left, or right, there's actually two areas you can actually go into where it just looks like one big screen. So I kept thinking that going to the right from that one screen just leads to the swamp and that the rest is foliage that you can't pass through, which you see frequently when you try to go through. It says the foliage here is too thick. So I literally kept wandering around trying to find where the alien was, and I'm like, where am I missing it? Like, I know there's an alien that's like stuck on a trap because it literally said it really quick in one of the earlier screens where you're supposed to go to the east down at the bottom to find him. So at that moment, I was thinking, well, maybe it's the swamp, but I know it's not because you have to have the berries, which I already got, and then you cross the swamp, and he does something to help you. And I know he's not on the other side of the swamp. So I'm literally just walking into areas where there's foliage and I can't piece together where this is at. So I'm literally lost, and you'll see me go right back up. Like if I'd just gone to the right there, it'd have been good. But I go up to the top, and once again, it's the swamp. So I know that's not right. Like I literally walk around and I cannot for the life of me figure out because that threw me off that the top screen leads to the swamp, but down below it'll actually lead to another screen. So I literally kept walking back around thinking maybe it's between like a set of bushes I'm not seeing, but everywhere I go it's saying the foliage here is too thick to pass through. So I am literally at this point in time when I'm playing the game very lost because the logic of where that exit is to get to where the alien is didn't make sense to me based off playing other previous Sierra games because to me, going east of here leads to the swamp. So you see, I try to go there, but that's not where it's at. It's actually in front of the rock down at the bottom of the screen. So once again, there's a swamp, and I know that's not right. And there's the sound of the alien thing, or that's the sound of the ship. So if you hang around too long, the aliens who imprisoned you or tried to imprison you will show up again. And so just out of pure chance, I walk to the right, and that's where the alien is. And then if you walk off the screen, because I didn't think that was actually going to be a screen, he disappears. So you have one chance. Like when you find him, you've got to save him then and there. And I just saved the game as Psy, because I walked by the screen so many damn times. So you see the alien, he's been caught in a trap. You have to get on the other side of the bush. You free him. He runs, and he's like, "See ya," but he looks at you, gives you a long glance. So hopefully that comes into play later. Spoiler alert: yes, it does. He will end up helping you when you yourself are in trouble. So he's been trapped by a hunter, and that's kind of cool that they foreshadow that somewhere around here there's a hunter and good old Roger Wilco is about to meet him. So now that I've saved the alien, I know that I can cross the swamp. But in order to cross the swamp, what you have to do is you rub the berries on yourself. Now, originally when I played this back in the day when Space Quest 2 first came out, I cannot tell you how many times I tried to literally zigzag around the tree to outrun that alien, swamp alien thing that eats you. Now, the thing is, you have to literally walk in the middle, or else you're going to miss this part with, you have to take a deep breath and swim underneath. Controls are kind of awkward here, but you'll see a light coming through, and up there you'll see a glowing gem. You need this gem to proceed later. Pretty much like everything in every Sierra game, you're going to need an item to proceed later, because you're going to end up in a cave that's very, 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 very dark. And when I get to that cave, I end up speeding the game again. As you can tell, this game is sped up. I don't actually type this fast, or I'm not playing this fast. If you watch the non-commentary version, you can see that it took me about 2 hours and some change to beat Space Quest 2. So I sped it up because no one wants to really listen to me talk for 2 hours. I don't even think anyone wants to listen to me talk for a half an hour, which is how long this video is. But I thought speeding it up would really help. Now here is where I talk about, boom, you end up caught in a trap. Now when you play this in normal, you just basically sit there for a good 15 seconds where it seems like something's wrong and that you might be able to escape. But eventually what happens is you pass out and you have a dream that you're a guy named Larry, and you're wearing a leisure suit made out of some synthetic material. And you're in a place called the Land of the Lounge Lizards, the Land of the Lounge Lizards. But as you see, you end up waking up in a cage, and there's a hunter here. So if you try to talk to him, he ignores you. And what you have to do is literally just sit here and wait. And I don't know why they made it like such a long wait time. But what you're gonna do is I'm just trying to pass time, trying to do stuff. What you're gonna do is when he approaches you, right when he gets to the cage, you throw the spore and he'll pass out. Now, what's weird is he falls down to the ground paralyzed and search body, and it says you can't do it from here. Look, Hunter just basically says it. And so what I just typed is get key, and it says okay. And then I unlock the door. And when you search his body, it says, no. There's just parasites. Don't touch. No touchy. So what you want to do is get that rope that's sitting there, and we're gonna mosey on. So from here, I made a mistake. Zap. So that lets you know those guys are still looking for you. So watch out. And what you can do is if you can time it correctly, you can actually get out of here and go back to the swamp. Or not to the swamp, but to the area you were caught with the rope. And what you're going to do is you're going to climb on the log, and then you're going to tie a rope to the log, and then you're going to climb down. And once you get to a certain spot, you can press F6 to swing. And if you get too far to the right, the gorilla alien thing will grab you, and you'll see he'll start to reach out and grab you, or try to grab you, like there. So the way to tell is you can watch the marking, and there's a point where Roger doesn't swing any further to the left. And when you do find that sweet spot, you jump. And I said you go into a cave that's super dark. So when you're in here, you can just hold the gem, and it seems like life is good. Like, yeah, cool, I'm just holding a gem. But as you mosey on, you slip through a hole. Boink. Now, this is tricky. Right there, I picked it up, but if you don't notice, because it's really hard to tell, the gem falls out of your hand and it lands in the grass. So a green gem on green grass was really difficult to spot. And it wasn't until I checked the inventory when I originally played this back in the day that I said, hey, my gem's gone. And I found it in the grass. But like I said, this time, having played it several times, I know that basically pick it up before you leave and then put it in your mouth. Now, this whole thing, if you watch the non-commentary version, that is literally probably 20 minutes of me being lost in this cave and what I was doing, because I didn't want to cheat and look online. I'm sure there's a map for it, but what I was trying to do is map it on a graph paper as to where the ladders were, what leads to dead end, and stuff like that. So I've made it back. So I did all that, and right there I was right back at the start. So now I've got a good idea of what I've mapped so far. But you can see there's still a lot, and I end up messing it up a few times where I mistake a cavern that I've already been in. So I do die several times. There is a cave squid, I guess you can say, that lives in these caves, and I don't know what triggers him if he's only in a certain specific area, but he always seems to be towards the top. So I think he's in a specific area in this game. So as long as you avoid that area, you're not going to fall for it. But that time he's actually in a different area. So I don't know. I think maybe he is a random encounter in here. And there's a few times where I end up getting lost, so I end up restoring to go back to the start because I can try to remap it from there. And I finally find out where it is, and I've slowed down. Like you can see, it's still sped up, but I've slowed down how quickly he was crawling through the cave. So you end up in this cool underwater stream area. I actually really like this part. Not so much this here, but when he comes out, I love how that statue looks. So make sure you go into the far right, and it certainly looks like it's grim, but you end up in the vortex of the whirlpool, and you come out. That's what I'm talking about, that thing there. They did such a good job with 16 colors, like, the sun coming through and creating shade and stuff like that. How they did that with this game is simply incredible. Like, Space Quest 2 really kind of pushed the envelope, made things really cool. So basically, you come out of the water and this Tasmanian devil thing pops out. What you have to do is throw the Rubik's Cube at him, which is what you got from your locker, and he'll be preoccupied. You grab one of the rocks from the wall that he broke through. And now, what are the options here? You have two options. You can either use your support like a sling, which you can see me trying to a number of different commands um, to try to put a rock into the sling, and then just say sling rock and it does it, and it'll knock him out. The other option is you can try to dodge, like when he turns, you can go from bush to bush and then go to the door, but that seems like a lot of trouble when you can just sling. But I don't know. With how long I spent trying to type the right command to sling a freaking rock, it might have been easier just to go from bush to bush. So you make it up. Look at the controls. There's a power, there's accent, and then something else to basically get yourself off this planet. So now we're going to go ahead and get out of here. And I thought they did a really good job with how Roger looks in this screen for 16 colors. It's pretty cool. Like the way they did the ship consoles, the flashing monitor, and stuff like that. They did a really good job with the graphics in Space Quest 2. So now we've made it into space. We're going to go ahead and fly out of here and go forward. And you can see the stars in the background flying by, but oh no, sludge faux hull. And it says, hey, you know what? I got you in the tractor beam. Don't even try to get away. Pulling you in. This is where the game, to me, and there's his base that we saw earlier when we were being taken to the safe planet. Now we're being taken back into the asteroid. This, to me, is where the game got really difficult. There's a couple of things in here that just want to kill you. And so it's not just getting something and using it, it's also avoiding a number of things. So I didn't realize that I was on the first level, so I kept pressing level 1 until I looked, and I was like, oh, I'm on level 1. So what we need to do is either press 3, 4, or 5. So we end up down in 3, just going down this numerical thing. You can see a camera there turn that says you feel like you're being watched, which we clearly are. So you move down this very long hallway, and there's one of the things you have to avoid. And I thought going back and forth it wouldn't show up, but it does. It follows you pretty much all the way sometimes. And what it is, it's a floor wax cleaner thing, and it's random. It's not always there. And the problem is, so there it is. It showed up on that screen this time. So what I'm going to do is hide in the elevator, wait for it to go all the way there, and then all the way back, and then essentially walk behind it. And then it just disappears. That's so great. Like, it was there to chase me, but when I have to follow it, it's gone. So that randomly appears on all the floors, not just this one. So you go in here, it's a janitor closet. And what you can find in here is a plunger, which very janitor-like. Cool. So I'm going to just go all the way to the right. We're going to hit the elevator over here. Go down to floor 4. And we're going to basically do the same thing. We're going to go and find another janitor closet on this floor and get some more items, which is right there. So go in here and we're going to take a look. And there's a glass cutter. So let's get the glass cutter. I don't know why there'd be a glass cutter in the janitor's closet, but there you have it. And here we have the bathrooms. There's only one stall, so we're going to go ahead and go inside. And what we're going to get is the toilet paper. We're going to exit the bathroom. This time I'm going to walk the other way to the other elevator. And there's a cleaner thing just randomly shows up when it wasn't behind me before. And that's why I saved the game. That came out of nowhere. So now we're down on floor 5. And as I said, that cleaner can show up on any screen. This one is, so we're going to take a look. And we're going to get the wastebasket in here. And then we're going to get the overalls, but they're kind of like janky. So something falls out and you look and it's a lighter. So you're going to go ahead and get the lighter. And you can kind of see where this is going. A wastebasket, some toilet paper, a lighter. You can tell we're about to light a fire up in here. So I wanted to save there because I want to show you something that is in this that you can trigger if you go the other way. So you can see cages that kind of look like animals, and you'll see one cage opens up. Now I'll try to outrun her and live, which I actually think I do, but it looks like aliens, right? It's the alien thing, and she has big lips, and if she kisses you, an alien does burst out of your stomach. So it's a best to avoid her. Not everyone is like Captain Kirk. You don't have to sleep with all the aliens. But my buddy Chris Cronkite would appreciate the fact that they put an aliens reference in this game. So now things seem to be going poorly, and now the floor is moving from below me, and I remember, you need to put the plunger on the wall. Now what I didn't remember, Roger Wilco's strength is only so much. So I did that way too soon. And it gives no indication until the floor gives out and it says, oh, you know what, you're too weak. Blah, 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 blah. And you die quickly in sulfuric acid. So now I know I need to time that. And I don't know where the length is that Roger has to do this. But I essentially pretty much waited until the very end. And thankfully, if you hit F3, it'll repeat the command of what you typed before. So I hit F3 and it says put plunger on wall. And you can see I waited pretty much as I could, and that was long enough to let the floor pass. And then let go of the plunger, and let's light this place up. So you can look at the ceiling and you'll see like little fire hydrant thingies. So you put the wastebasket on the floor, throw the toilet paper in there, and then you light it on fire. And now the reason you're doing this, and I'll show you here in a second, is there are robots here that if you don't do this, those robots, they will chase you and kill you. And so it mentions here you fried their circuits. There's a door over here, and this is none other than Sludge Vohal. I keep saying it like that because I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it. So you go and talk to him, and it says, you know what, you can't really see him, so you get closer, and you're like, hey, and then you can go up halfway up the stairs, and you can see him, but then you have to go all the way up the stairs, and it looks like you die. It looks like he incinerates you, but he doesn't. What he does is he shrinks you. Now, I know technically this is all an illusion. You're not really shrunk, but I love this part of Space Quest 2. The fact that Roger literally looks like he has shrunk. I mean, he's same size character. He might be a little bit smaller, but the way they made the vents, everything's super large. So I thought this was really cool. So you climb in there, and what you're going to do is you're going to press the button. This is pretty dark. Like, you literally kill Sludge Vohal by making it so he can't breathe and his heart stops. That is really dark for a hero. Like, you killed him. Like, you didn't find a nice, peaceful way. Like, you didn't just do a code that stopped the aliens. Or not the aliens, the insurance salesmen. No, you actually kill Sludge Vohal. So you turn this on, and then you have to type enlarge, and what happens is the beam goes back. You go in here, and boom, what it's gonna do is return you back. And Sludge Vohal is dead on the ground. Now, what do? You search body. Keep saying get closer, so he's in front of the chair. And you notice a command that says SHSR. So now what you have to do is look at the computer, and you'll notice there is a way to stop this. And you have 7 minutes, according to where I was at. You type in SHSR, and that aborts the Sludge Vohal program of sending off the insurance salesman. Now, you would think, cool, that's the end of the game, but no. What you have to do now is you have to get off the asteroid and basically tell the world that, hey, you know what? I saved the world again. Not that anyone cares. So make sure you stop here, open up that box, get what's inside, which is an oxygen mask. And might as well put it on now, because what's going to happen is right around this corner, a little bit further down, the glass right there is going to crack. And if you do not have that on, you suffocate and die a horrible death. So now the alarms are going crazy, and you think, I just need to get into an escape pod, right? Yeah. It's not that easy because now what you have to do, and I walked all the way around. So you have 40 minutes until meltdown, and I think it is real time that they count down because later on it's going to tell me I have 35 minutes, and I do believe about 5 minutes had passed in game time. It's not going to seem like it in the sped up version because obviously it's sped up, so time is moving much quicker because you're having fun here. And so what you're going to have to do is get into an escape pod. Now, I made the mistake of coming in this way to get into the escape pod because what happens is that robot is much closer. So I'm going to speed up him chasing me away and then go back and speed me back up to get back into the pod. And you're going to see I didn't make it in time, so I'm going to speed up him chasing me away, and that said 35 minutes. So now I'm super fast, and I'm going to get in the pod this time. And once you get in the pod, he stops chasing you. But if you come in from the other side, he's 2 pods over, and so it's easier to get in there. So then you get in the pod, press the button to eject, and whew, you made it. You feel pretty good right now. You stopped Valhalla, you managed to save the world. Suddenly a warning signal shows that you're about to run out of oxygen. So you need to look at the ship, and inside is one of those basically carbon sleep things where you sleep forever. And you open it, go inside, and that's the end of Space Quest 2. Really, the only difficult part I found was the tunnel because I had to map it and then trying to find where that alien was. Because, again, based off previous Sierra games, usually when you go right, it's going to be the same screen no matter where you exit from that part. So I hope you've enjoyed me rambling about my playthrough of Space Quest 2. If you like it, click the like, subscribe, smash the notification button or whatever it is those cool kids say nowadays. And if you really did enjoy it, let me know in the comments. But also, by all means, please share it. Tell if you're watching this, you're probably a Sierra fan. Post it on Facebook, social media, Twitter, whatever, and help get the word out. Because right now, there was a time I was doing these early on, and life got really busy and chaotic, and a bunch of stuff happened. So I had stopped doing this for a long time. So I was not consistent. I'm trying to get back into that consistency mode, and I've been doing that. So I did Leisure Suit Larry 7, then I did Space Quest 1. Now I just finished Space Quest 2. I've started playing Space Quest 3, so I am trying to be more consistent. So I'd love for more people to be aware of this channel. Love to have more subscribers, more viewers, and all that fun stuff. So thanks again. See you in Space Quest 3.